The movie Men and Women and Children opens today, and the movie follows teens and their parents as they navigate through the way the internet has changed relationships, their communication, and their love lives. Here to talk more about this topic is real-life counselor Janie Lacy. Welcome to the show,
Welcome, Janie.
Yeah, thanks for waking up. It's early. But the movie tackles a very real theme in today's society. How do you feel the internet has impacted us as a society?
The internet has impacted us greatly. You know, there's a lot of benefits to it, but then there can also be a downside to it. And in particular, I enjoyed the movie because it was very relevant. There's lots of movies that can tackle topics, but this was like being in the counseling session. There were relevant topics to what we deal with every day with families. So there's a downside to it, but there's also a balance that it could be a great thing for many of our teens and our children.
Can you give us an example of maybe, a situation where communication is kind of shut off?
But there are a lot of times where we're dealing with families where bullying comes into play, or any type of inappropriate pictures put on the internet by a female to get attention, those types of things. So many times we have to coach parents on what do you do in those situations. You want to be able to have a relationship with your children where there's a conversation going, where it's just not, I'm putting the hammer down, that there's some acceptance as to why the parents are doing what they're doing. So there's many reasons why you would shut it down as a consequence to bad behavior or misusing the internet in particular.
Misusing, for sure.
Do you think that's the best way to do it, though, is just to shut it down, just take it away from them, or maybe take some things away, in sports?
I believe there's a layer approach. The first thing is you want to have a conversation, and my basic foundation is you need to have a relationship with your children.
Right.
So that they understand why you're doing what you're doing. But there also needs to be, as to your point, an opportunity to earn it back. Right? It's just not going to take it down and then you're going to give it back to them and not have any way where they're earning it back.
Definitely.
While it's monitored.
Let's talk about love and relationships specifically because, apps and the internet, it's all out there, Tinder, Facebook. How is that affecting the way we communicate in relationships? Yeah.
Well, I can tell you without a doubt, with every single couple that comes into counseling, it's a conversation. So where we would normally have boundaries in person, it kind of blurs the lines online. So it's searching through someone that you've dated 10 years ago, and then she sees the history by mistake. So it is a conversation with every single couple. So proactively with our premarital couples, we have a conversation to have what are those boundaries that you expect online as well as in person to help them proactively deal with these things, because reactively couples come in after they've already crossed the line and need to deal with the issues. So
do you have any tips on what parents can do with their teens to make sure that that communication stays relevant within the home?
I do believe that parents need to have an active role with their children's social networking. You don't want to be helicoptering and watching every keystroke, but you want to know what's going on. But furthermore, you want to have a relationship with them. What's going on in their life? How do they feel about school? How do they feel about sports? So that it's just not, I'm just watching and I'm this hawk over here, that we have a relationship. So then when you're going, and you're also a friend with them on Facebook and Instagram and these things as well.
Everything.
Right.
The thing I don't like about it is, to be honest with you, it's like we don't talk to each other anymore.
I agree. Everybody's like looking down at their phones.
Yeah,
or their,
Jessica mentioned it earlier too. She was like, people they don't look up anymore.
Yeah.
How can we change that?
The good old conversation, you're right. There are so many times where we'll talk to teens and they'll have many friends online, but how many do they really have in person?
Right.
And the same thing with us as adults. How many people really know us and that we spend time with?
Who do we connect
versus
with in
texting
person?
or sharing, liking Instagram, those types of things. So I believe it has connected us more, but in many ways it has disconnected us more.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. Any other tips that you can give us about communication without social media?
I think the standard line is to always have more face-to-face conversation and relationships than you do online, and then if you do that, you're set.
All right, thank you so much, Janie, for being here. And don't
Thank
forget to check out the movie Men, Women, and Children in theaters now. I think it's going to bring up a lot of good conversations. You're watching the DBZ.